Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's virtual Eclipse community meetup. My name is Serena, and joining us today is Eclipse Foundation, Marta Rybczynska, who will be presenting our talk on Someone Reports a Security Issue in My Project, Now What? For us today. So if you have any questions for Marta as we move through today's presentation, feel free to ask them in the chat or use the Ask a Questions tab. We will be answering all of those questions at the end of the presentation. Without any further delay, Marta, over to you.
Have you ever reported a regular bug in a project? Or have you ever received a regular bug report in your project? For most of you, the answer will be yes. Was it hard to handle? It depends. When we face our first security issue, we may feel a little bit of a fear and we may be uncertain what to do. But at the end, the situation is the same as for a regular bug. And today I'm going to show you step by step how to handle a security issue so that you can be as proficient in handling them as handling of regular bugs. What is a bug first? A bug is, how it all happens. It all starts with a message that you get through a ticket, through an email message, Slack, Matrix, or any other channel like that. Dear project team, we have found a security issue in some module of your project. And now we are back to bugs. If you want a definition of a bug, even if we all know what it is, it's an error or a flaw in the design or implementation of some feature. And what is important, it causes unexpected results. And vulnerability, what means a security issue, is just a type of a bug. A type of a bug that has something special. And the special thing is that this bug can be used by an attacker or malicious party to break one or more of three things. And those three features of your project are confidentiality. You break confidentiality if an attacker can access some data they should not have access to, like some malicious party reading your email when you haven't given them access to. Then integrity. Imagine someone modifies your Git repository and adds some malicious comments in them, or some comments that you didn't know about. That is a break of integrity. And then the third feature, availability, is just the service being available. Very easy to understand with web applications, servers, networking. Either the user can use it or some malicious party made the service disappear. To make it easier to remember those three features that can be broken by a security vulnerability, those three features are also called CIA: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We have already covered what is a security vulnerability, and we are going to come back to that in a moment. Now we are going to meet the reporter. We are going to learn who reports the issue. Then we are going to go step by step with the resolutions. I'm going to show you tools and resources from the Eclipse Foundation to help you with that. We'll do a small quiz, and then we'll have time for questions and answers. Let's get started. Who reports a security vulnerability? I've listed here 3 groups of people: security researchers, developers from a different project, or users. 2 of those groups, you know them well enough. Developers in different projects who have found something that is not working in yours, pretty common situation, and users, also a pretty common situation. What happens in the case of security vulnerabilities is that the most common reporter is a security researcher. What it means, a security researcher, is someone working on finding security issues. They may be paid researcher in a company or research institution. They may be working on their PhD thesis and testing some novel ways of finding security issues. Or they may be somewhere else in academia. They may be doing a course on security and have a project to work on some tools or some types of vulnerabilities, or they may be doing their master's on engineering thesis or some other project. They still share a big number of common features that are a little bit different from developers and users of your project. What happens when the researcher starts working on your project? They do not know how it works internally. They may know how it works or how the resulting project works at the end, but how it is organized, how to report issues, how you plan your releases, they do not know that. But they have found an issue. And quite often, most of the time, actually, they want credits in the CV, we are going to cover that, and the release notes. The credits is a kind of their payment for their work. And to make things even more interesting, sometimes they have fixed publication date because the work on your project is a part of a bigger security work on some new type of security research, and that they have submitted their work to a security conference. So they have a date to publish what they have found out. When they approach your project, they have the issue, and then they are looking for a way to report it to your project. They prefer to do it confidentially without attackers being able to use it against your project and the data of your users. What are they going to look into? They will start into looking into the Git of your project. They will look for file like SECURITY.md or just security, where they expect to find information on how to report an issue in a project. Then, if they cannot find the information they're searching for, they will look at the project's website. If you have a security page, they will have a look here, searching for the same information. And then they will also look in the project documentation if you have maybe more details about reporting in your project. If you have a security page in your documentation or a page showing how to report an issue. Having one of all of those elements allows the researcher to go directly and report things as they want to. If they cannot find the information, it may happen that they will post the information on IRC, or they will create a public issue in your bug tracker. That is something that we'd like to avoid. having SECURITY.md, having a security page on your website or a chapter in your project documentation is a best practice. I heavily recommend you to follow. Now, when they have found your project and they have found a way to report you an issue, what happens next? It happens between the Eclipse Foundation security team and your project. If the report comes through the security mailing list of the Eclipse Foundation or through the general bug tracker, it is the Eclipse Foundation security team that is going to receive the information at the beginning, and it's going to notify your project about it. The security team also gives your project the CVE ID that we are going to cover and can publish security issue. All that happens in a dedicated GitLab project, or in fact, multiple projects. We are going to cover that. What is left for your project resembles handling of a typical issue with a few twists. Your project is responsible for fixing the issue, and we ask you to confirm that it's really a security issue, and then you tell the security team to publish the information about the issue happening. Let's get into more details on your project side. The first important step is confirming an issue. As for a regular bug, check if it's really a problem and if you can reproduce it. If you need more information, ask the reporter. You may ask them for the exploit code, which is a fancy name in the security world for a test case, or procedure they use to reproduce the issue. The version and configuration they have used, the typical information that you may need to be able to solve the issue and to reproduce it. Then the best practice is to confirm the issue within a week. Highly recommended within 48 hours. Please note that the Eclipse Foundation security team confirms the reception of the issue separately from your project. But then the reporter wants to know if you agree with their work. They did research work. They want to know what you think. Remember also that reporters have other options. It happens that if the project doesn't answer, they may post the information after some delay. This is called full disclosure. Remember also that by giving you the security issue, the reporter gave the project a gift that allows you to avoid risk for your users. Please consider your reporters and consider the work they're doing. When you have confirmed that is a real issue, or maybe after a discussion with the reporter, it quite often can also help you finding out how to actually fix it, because they may be working on a similar type of an issue in many projects. What happens is a preparation of fix. The policy for the Eclipse Foundation is to release typically within 90 days, with some exceptions possible if we have good reasons. My recommendations are to develop your fix in a private or local branch and use generic terms in your commit messages and pull requests. It's a bug, so treat it as a bug, and you can write in your commit message that you are fixing off by one error, you're adding a missing check, what is actually happening, without having to tell that security issue. I recommend you also to merge the fix as usual with reviews. That avoids us having regressions introduced by the fix. So go through a typical review when you are ready. Then create release for your main branch and backport to all supported branches that you have, then release minor and bugfix versions. This is very important to release your software after you have a security fix. Most users are going to use releases, and applying patches is acceptable only in the case of a very complex bugs and very urgent situations. Usually they should just get a release from you. Now we come to CVEs. What is a CVE? The abbreviation stands for Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures. It's a fancy way to name a security issue. And the name consists of the prefix CVE. Then you have the year, and the year is the year where the issue was resolved. Typically, that's the year when the issue was discovered, and then a unique number during that year. That allows security researchers to discuss multiple issues without using full sentences to describe every single one of them, especially when they are discussing multiple issues at the same time. It also allows your project team to better communicate internally about a specific issue. When your project wants a CVE number for an existing issue that you have confirmed, create a confidential issue in the CVE assignment backtracker on GitLab. You can do it when you confirm the vulnerability. The issue is confidential, so only the security team and you can see it. Fill in what you know about the issue at that point. You can always update it when you have more information. It is also a way to tell the security team that there is something that you are working on. If you need help, if you need suggestions, that's the moment to ask. It is up to the project team to publish after you release. If you want to have a planned date when everything gets released, for example, you want to release everything on the 9th of May, you just communicate in that tracker and tell the security team to release the information at that date. Here are different resources I have for the project. We have updated the handbook with the vulnerability section. You can see that the procedure has been described in more details with more stages. You have more links. So have a look. Then we have a new general vulnerability reporting repository. In the security vulnerability reports, there's a placement of Bugzilla. If your project prefers to have a separate tracker for your project or use the GitHub security advisories, contact the Eclipse Foundation security team. We can set up this for you. For the CVE ID requests, please go also to the other GitLab security CVE assignment, and there is a template with all the questions that you need to answer. And then if you want to update your SECURITY.md, we'll have more resources soon. We have best practices repository when we have template for you to get and update as you see fit. If you need help with best practices, best security practices in your project. If you need communication with, if you need help with communication with the vulnerability reporters, assigning CVs or writing your advisories, contact the Eclipse Foundation security team. You can do it either by creating a help desk ticket or emailing the security team. We are here to help you when you need it. Before we come to questions, there is a quiz time. Try to guess if this is a bug or a possible vulnerability. First situation. You have a buffer that is too small to keep possible user input. Yes, that is in most cases a possible vulnerability. Then, second example. An application shows help in hard-to-read colors. A little bit more complex. Typically, it will be just a bug, except if the colors can be changed by the attacker and they may trick users to actually click on what they do not want to click. And then a third example. A web application crashes at some user input. Is it a bug or vulnerability? It could be a vulnerability. It could be also a regular bug. Depends on the situation. In many cases, I would say it will be a vulnerability by default, because crashing removes the availability of the project for the user. Thank you for following me. Now we'll have the question and answer time, and I will close the screen sharing to be able to interact with you.
So thank you for that excellent presentation today, Marta. Just a reminder for anyone in the audience that has any final questions to please feel free to put them in the chat or the Ask a Questions tab. So while we're doing that, while you're sorting out those questions, we're also looking to book more virtual Eclipse community meetups throughout 2023. So if you're interested in presenting, feel free to fill out the form, which I will also link in the chat momentarily. And finally, of course, your feedback on the webinar talk today. We would love to hear from you. So once we close up the session, just click on the green button that pops up and let us know how you enjoyed the talk. I'm just going to scroll through here. Nope, there's no ask a questions. And there is no comments in the chat. So that's it, Marta. Thank you so much. You have yourselves all a wonderful day. And enjoy.
Thank you,
It's
everyone.
a nice sunny day here in Ottawa, Canada. So hopefully it's a nice sunny day wherever you are, or have a good evening, everyone. Take care.